will not attend the from Italy, but
it's difficult day. Italian is a romantic
yes,
country.
yes.
Today is a romantic day.
Yeah, that's Alessandro. We said that we are going to adapt and to make a romantic webinar today.
Okay.
And just one brief note: we are now 18.
Okay.
Maybe someone was afraid with our romantic promises.
Alex, if you want, we can start. And maybe if this is the final number, I don't know. If this is the final number, yes, well, we can three groups from 6. Okay, 6 people. Perfect.
Yeah, we yes. Okay. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Now it's a time to reveal yourself. Please turn on the video. We want to see your happy faces. We want to interact with you, looking at your eyes, see the excitement in your eyes while we are presenting the PowerPoints. It's a time. Good.
Turn on. Come on.
Great.
Girate le telecamere.
I think it's okay to have a few seconds to prepare before you turn on the camera. No rush.
Yes.
No rush.
You can do the final brush.
Ragazzi, le telecamere. Vincenzo, Ale.
Great. You are all beautiful, not only at Seoul, but also in your videos. We are happy to be with you, and we are about to start. Are we ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes, because we're going to run this together with Alex, so I have to be ready.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would be embarrassing. But the rest, I hope you are also ready to receive all this knowledge and to create it together and to participate. And you know, today is a national holiday for Italy, so we have to honor Italy as well, and all the other romantic countries. National holiday because of Valentine, yes?
Yes.
Just to clarify. Okay, so basically we can start now, if you agree. So first of all, before we started, we thought with Alex to do a little energizer, very short energizer. Those of you who have been in webinars with us before, you know that we like to involve everyone, to make everybody participate and move a little bit and talk. So for this first activity, we have prepared some statements, some sentences, and if the sentence that we say to you, if the statement that we say to you, you agree with it, or if it is true for you, you will be instructed to do a little move that we show you, maybe in combination with a sound. We will see how it goes. Alex, do you have something to add before we start?
I just want to start the excitement and ask everybody. We have some questions. So I will say a statement, and if you agree, you have to follow. Maybe with a sound, maybe with a movement. You need to be attentive. So the first statement is, I like ice cream. So whoever likes ice cream, do this.
Alex, your video is frozen.
Okay, so whoever likes
again
ice cream, you can just do a sound. Woo! Woo! You can unmute now. Let's go. Who likes ice cream, please? Great goals.
So now the next statement is, before I tell you the statement, what I would like for you to do is to act like a monkey. So you can have to make the monkey sounds, you have to make the monkey movements, everything that is about the monkey. Okay, so I have a pet. Alex, do you have a pet, or are you just wanted to play?
I want the bed.
Okay, so I speak one language. Whoever speaks one language, do this. Figaro, Figaro, Figaro.
Figaro, Figaro, Figaro.
Figaro, Figaro, Figaro.
Figaro, Figaro.
Figaro.
So everybody speaks one language. Good job. So now everybody who speaks two languages, you can do this. This was a jump.
Ah, okay. Great, two languages, but whoever speaks three languages, they can say without any shame, I am the best.
I'm the
I'm
best.
the best.
Antonio is the best.
Okay, so the next statement, and before I tell you, I will ask you to do this. So the statement is, I have one sibling.
One.
One sibling, brother or sister. You have to do this. Very good. Amazing acting from everybody.
I have two siblings. You have to do this.
Okay. And the last one about the siblings, you have to do the same what Alex did for the previous one. So I have three siblings.
Oh, I don't have.
Okay.
What great imagination, Mihaly. Thank you for thinking of the three fingers. I don't know. So
I forgot of what I had saved, so I stole yours.
if you have been to Mexico before, you can sing the following. Para bailar la bamba. Also for the locals is this.
Para bailar la bamba.
Para bailar
Is
la
it for the
bamba.
Mexicans?
I know that some
Para
people.
bailar la bamba.
Para bailar la bamba.
Also
Ana-
you, Alessandro.
Ale-
Para bailar la bamba.
and Annalisa, I know.
Analisa.
Para bailar la bamba.
Great.
Very nice. The next statement, for the next statement, you have to pretend you're an elephant. Okay, with the sounds and the music and everything. So the next statement is, I have been to Italy.
If you are attending this webinar from your workspace, we are sorry, but it is how it is.
And okay, I will say a second one, Alex, if you don't want, or you want.
I'm a bit shy. You should go forward.
Okay, well, okay. It's the same one, but for Greece. If you have ever been to Greece, you can do the elephant.
Okay, so if your country is based, it depends on tourism, please raise your hand.
Okay. If you believe tourism is a strong way to empower a local community, please raise 2 hands. Very good.
If your country has been affected by natural disaster the last year, please put a reaction like what I do now, a heart.
Okay, and for the last statement, if this is true, I would say do a dance, but this is not a fun statement, so you can also have a reaction, like a heart again. So someone I know has lost his house or business due to a natural disaster. Okay. Okay, so we started a little bit lighter, and we continued a little too, I don't know, intense. So this was this activity for now. We wanted a little bit to have a really short introduction on what we're going to discuss today. So natural disasters and how they affect the local communities, and what local communities can do after that in order to be empowered again. So thank you for participating, and now we move to the next activity, which is a word cloud.
Thank you, my Valentine. I can go on from now on. I have sent to everybody in the chat one link. It's www.menti.com and the number. Please, if you can just go there and insert the number there, because I have a very important question for you, and I would like your contribution. Let me know if everything works well there. Okay, so the question is, are you there? Are you in the question? Okay. Why do tourists visit your country? Write some explanations. Why do tourists visit your country? Come on, don't be shy.
Hello, Antonio. Sorry to everyone.
Okay.
Hello, Gerardo.
Hello.
Alex, I wrote some words, but I don't know why we can't see them.
Let me see.
Maybe you need to click on show result or something like that. Alex, not Lorena.
Maybe you can say some cold jokes until I try to solve the problem.
I wasn't prepared for a joke. Okay, but an elephant a kangaroo and a horse enter a bar. No, the joke was that I am making up the joke, so there is no continue to this. There's no continue to this story. Do you have the solution yet?
Alex, can you see the other results?
Yes, now we have solved the problem.
Yes.
Woohoo. So we have for business projects, rich culture, entertainment because of Philippines. That's good. That's specific. Entertainment and its people, culture, it's big, food, history, weather, hospitality, sun, diversity, humble. I would like an explanation on this. Of natural resources, traditions, women, someone has said. I would like an explanation for this as well. I mean, this Alessandro, maybe, I don't know.
Yes,
culture.
I'm sure.
What else? Amazing view. Traditions. Pizza. Pizza with ananas.
Pizza is from Greece, obviously.
Yes, of course.
History again. Locations.
Okay, but we see that there are some also bigger words, which are culture, food, weather, and history. And this, of course, yes. So we see that this could also apply for a lot of the countries that we have here together with us. And these are also the assets that we have as communities, as countries. So what is it? What is the thing that makes our countries nice to visit? So this was one of the reasons, one of the things that the assets can bring to the community, but it's not only that. It's not only the reason why people visit our countries and why it's a nice touristic destination, but it's also something that we can use as a community in order to be empowered and to become more resilient in a situation of natural disaster. Yes, Alex.
So let's go to the next question, if we are ready, Michali. We are staying in the same website, mendit.com, and we are inserting this number.
3027-0252.
And now the question is, what is the most important local asset in your community?
Will you also share the screen, Alex, so we can see the results?
So we have beaches, people, gyros, gastronomy, culture. Gyros is the local delicacy of the Greek cuisine. Traditions, food, natural resources, cultural heritage, traditions, monuments. I don't know, Michal, if you want to read the Baya. This is a Filipino word, maybe Bayanihan, culture in Philippines. Handicraft.
Bayanihan culture.
if Filipino can also correct us on this. Youth projects, cultural heritage, growing industry. Cajeta.
So who can tell us what is the Bayanihan culture? Can you explain to everybody what it is? Whoever wrote it or someone else who knows, it's okay.
Maybe I will ask.
If not, we can Google it.
I will ask Jobless because he's always. She was ready to say.
Bayanihan is it's an action of unity, cooperating of the community. So all the people are helping each other.
That's
Okay,
great.
thank you. That's very, very nice. And it also touches a little bit upon the topic of today, but I will not say anything more, not to spoil the fun. It will be a secret. But yes, Bayanihan culture, I think it's very applicable to what we're going to discuss today. And thank you very much for your contributions. So now I think we are ready to move on. Alex, can you give me the option to share my screen? Thank you very much. I received it. 1 second. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect, perfect.
Yes.
All right. So today, for the first part of the webinar, we will discuss about local assets and community strategies development in post-disaster areas. And I'm going to take you through one of the main strategies for community development. And of course, youth-led tourism is always the context. And so I will be talking as an expert on tourism because every year I go on vacation. So this is my expertise. I'm joking. So let's start. So this is from the e-learning course. It's the module number 3, and you can find it in our e-learning class. You can find this resource. And the description and the module has this contents. So first we will discuss a little bit the description of the module, the objectives, and then we'll go a bit deeper to discuss a little bit about local assets, an introduction to tourism and the economy, community engagement and development strategies, outcomes of community engagement and development of strategies in recovery from disaster. Then we're going to see a little bit the ABCD model and the elements of its approach. And finally, we will see the case study of Aceh in Indonesia. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And after we finish with this short presentation, we're going to move to an activity that we will do in breakout rooms. Is this okay?
Thank you, Michali. And I think also it's nice to give the credits to where they belong for these presentations to Maria, who has supported us throughout this journey.
Yes. Maria did the excellent research, and we will be happy to show it to you today. So, first of all, we have the description of the module. So I'm going to tell you a little bit what it is about. Basically, due to the climate change, the disasters that are happening more and more, they're becoming more frequent, unfortunately. So this means that we need to find strategies in order to adapt to these disasters? Well, of course, the best thing to do would have been to take action in order to minimize the climate change, to make smarter decisions regarding the environment, respect the resources that are being destroyed, respect the natural elements of the earth, such as forests. But there is also, except for preventive action, which would be that, we can also take action after the disasters have hit. So one of the scopes of the project and this module more specifically is about tourist destinations that are hit by natural disasters. So we can see how the local communities can bounce back, re-attract visitors, and how it can work together in order to overcome these difficulties. So in this module and this webinar, right now, you will learn a little bit about local community approaches and assets that can be used in order to achieve disaster recovery, mainly in the tourist sector, and how community development strategies can emerge, get back from the traumatic events and reconnect in order to build resilience and touristic development. The objective is to identify and valorize the local community assets that can be used in order to achieve sustainable community-based tourism to benefit local communities of disaster areas. So basically, find what are the assets of our community, how can we see what are the assets of our community, and how can we use them in order to recover and to attract tourists again, since we're talking about the touristic sector specifically. So the basic questions that the module attempts to answer are the following. Can local assets help a community recover from a natural disaster? Well, the answer to this is probably yes, but we will see.
But if someone says no, we would be happy to
yes, of course.
Debate.
Of course. How is it possible? How can assets help the community recover? What is asset-based community development, or ABCD? How can local community development strategies benefit the post-disaster area? And what are the outcomes of community engagement in recovery from disaster? All right. So we discussed a little bit the description and the objectives of the module. And now we can start talking about the topic itself. So we all understand, of course, coming from countries which usually attract a lot of people who come for vacation and for women, someone said. So we all understand that the tourism is a very powerful sector that can help a community grow. Some communities and some countries, like Greece, for example, since we don't have a lot of production like agriculture and industry, we rely heavily on tourism. So this is quite important to pay attention on this sector and to take care of it, especially in cases of natural disaster. One example that has happened to Greece quite recently is the fires in the island of Evia and the floods that came after. The island of Evia is an island which is very, of course, as all islands, it relies heavily on tourism. So this means that when these fires happened, a lot of the natural beauty of the island was lost, which is one of the local assets. So this means that tourists do not have the motivation to visit anymore. So this means that this community, the community of the island of Evia, will need to find ways to recover this loss and to find a way to attract tourists again. Yeah, so as it says here, when a disaster hits a destination, the tourism sector and the destination's economy are affected. So it's not only that it is a natural distraction, that we lose the forest, that we lose lives, that we lose property. There is a major economic risk for the future of the destination as well. So how can a community of a post-disaster area recover, and how can the touristic sector restart? So as the consequences are usually very strong, it needs teamwork, basically. It needs the engagement of a community in order to recover. So by adopting community development strategies, the disasters are usually viewed by the community as a catalyst for the rebuilding of a post-disaster area. So as Antonio has said also in the previous webinar very wisely, of course, distractions and disasters are something that we really do not wish to happen to our countries, to our communities. But we cannot stop there. We have to view them as an opportunity in order to rebuild. It is a bit difficult, of course, to view something so destructive and so bad as an opportunity, but this is what we need to do in community engagement strategies in order to recover. So the community can be engaged in many actions. So disaster prevention, preparedness, response and recovery, and an individual can, or a group, organization, or agency can instigate the engagement. So there are a lot of elements of the community that can participate in this in order to recover and even to prevent disasters. So when the community is using community engagement and development strategies, there are certain key outcomes if you implement it effectively, which can contribute to the empowerment of the individuals and the communities affected by the disaster. First of all, the community is informed and aware through provision of timely and accurate information. So in case the disaster hits, especially if it's a destination which suffers many times from the same problem. So for example, in Greece, it could be fires. So if the community is informed, then they can act accordingly to save properties, to save lives, and to minimize the bad effects of the disaster. Also, access to services and facilities. If you have community engagement and development strategies from before, this means that appropriate services such as shelters, or for example, again with the example of Greece, if you have a strong fire brigade and equipment that can be used by the locals in order to help when a fire is happening, this is very important. Also, you get a sense of community safety. So people know that if they are prepared for a disaster, they feel more safe and they can continue their everyday lives without the stress of something happening and destroying everything that we have in our life, which is a very important element because it is an ongoing good effect. The community becomes more healthy, of course, with the preventative health measures and environmental practices that are undertaken. I don't need to say anything more about this. Participation in community life, of course. So, for example, I know that the volunteering community, the people who are volunteer firefighters, they have built a very strong community, and it is a very nice way to participate as well as a person who wants to be a member of the community. And you get, of course, a sense of belonging. You take pride in your participation into this strategy to protect the environment in your community. There is more cohesion in the community, there is a stronger identity of the community. And of course, last but not least, the economic recovery happens faster if the community is engaged. And I have been talking for a while now, so I would like to ask if you have any questions or if you would like to comment anything. Now is a good time. Otherwise, I will continue without stop.
From my part, everything is okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
Maybe you can drink a glass of water to, to revive your Chrome. That's good.
Thank you.
And
thank
maybe,
you for taking care of my voice.
And maybe without scaring people, we can say that the next part of the presentation, we will use it in an interactive exercise. So if you want to take some notes, it will help.
Yes. Thank you for Alex for noting this, because I would forget otherwise. Yes. So moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about the asset-based community development. So this is a strategy, one of the strategies that can be used, that can have the outcomes that we just discussed. So, informing the community and giving a sense of safety and a sense of belonging. This strategy is called asset-based community development, or ABCD, in order for you to remember it more easily. So this is an approach to sustainable community-driven development. It builds on the assets found in the community, and it mobilizes the parts of the community to come together to realize and develop their strengths. So you need to remember two things. The first thing is that we need the assets of the community. And the other thing that you need to remember is that we need the elements of the community. So the individuals, the associations, and the institutions, and anybody else that you can imagine. So assets on one hand, and community members in the other. So the key aspects of ABCD are asset-based approach. As we said, you need to involve the local assets. The second is a deficit-based versus the asset-based comparison. So you need to think not in terms of what is missing in this model, but in what you have. So it is not very productive to see, I don't have this, I don't have that, I cannot do anything. The most productive thing is to see what is there available in order to use this. Because in cases of disaster, it is very difficult to bring more things in order to grow. What is the easiest thing is to use what you already have. The third key aspect of the ABCD strategy or model is the power of the associations and the groups. So when people work as a group, it is a very powerful thing, and it can have many positive effects, not only the involvement in the community, but also you get more effective results. There are, of course, some principles to facilitate asset-based community development, which we will see in the next slide. And then we will see some asset-based community development in practice. So we'll see an example of successful implementation of this model. So it's when you apply the principles of ABCD, you have to view the community not as a complex mass of needs and problems. So not okay. So we had a disaster. So this means that the farmers lost their farms and the restaurants were burned down and stuff like that. You don't need to see the community like a victim, let's say. Not to see the community as something that is destroyed, but as something that is diverse and who's capable of giving gifts and assets. So again, this we discussed a little before. So it's not what you don't have, it's not what has been destroyed, it's what we have and what we can use in order to rebuild. So the ABCD concentrates on the assets that are identified by the individuals, associations, and institutions that form the specific community. And this categorizes the asset inventories into 5 groups. So where can we find our assets? We can find our assets in the individuals. We can find our assets in the associations. We can find the assets in the institutions. There are place-based assets, so like, for example, a beach or a forest, and of course the connections between them. We will see each one of these 5 groups one after the other in the next slide. But so far, is it clear what is the ABCD model? What are its 2 important elements?
I think, Michali, positivity is a key soft skill to look things after a disaster on what you can focus on and not, you know, to stay on the what is lost. And it's very difficult. Exactly. I suppose there are many skills combined there. Resilience. It's very tough.
Yes, it is really difficult. Imagine you have lost your house because of a hurricane, and then Michalis comes and he tells you, okay, think positive, this is an opportunity. Of course, it is difficult. This is not an easy thing to do, and we should not take this lightly. But if a community is prepared before that, so before the disaster hits, if you have focused a little bit on community development and in prevention and in getting your using your gifts from before, knowing how to use your gifts, it is, I think it's a very productive way to look at things. So, for example, we
also,
now...
yes, Galis,
yes.
Also, as we discussed a lot, that after the disaster, in the time after the disaster, immediately we have the first step, which is the restoring of the situation by using the public actions. No, so we are, because I think that this is something that the guys have to understand, that we are talking about the strategy for the development, not sure for the immediate restoring of a place. So this is something that the guys the participants has to understand, of course.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Antonio. This is a very important point. How do we move on? How do we grow? You know, not just to reclaim what is lost, not just to build the house again, but how the community can grow and become more empowered by this. This is a very good point. Okay, so now we will see a little bit the asset inventory. So how can we find the assets to become richer and stronger? So first of all, the individuals. We all have gifts and skills, even if we don't admit it sometimes. We're humble. So it is important that the individual assets need to be recognized and identified. In community development, as we said, you cannot do something with people's needs, but only their assets, what they can offer. Then you have the associations. These are small informal groups of people, such as clubs or groups, and they work with a common interest as volunteers, which is very critical to the community mobilization. They don't control anything, they're just coming together with a common interest or common goal by their individual choice. So as I said before, for example, the volunteer firefighters are a very important association, which can bring a lot to the table. Then you have the institutions, which are paid groups of people. They're a little bit more organized, and they're a collection of professionals who are structurally organized. Some of the institutions are government agencies and private businesses and schools and all that stuff, and they can be very valuable for rebuilding the community. The assets can help the community capture valuable resources and establish a sense of civic responsibility. Then you have the place-based assets, as we discussed, it's lands, building, heritage, public and green spaces. These are examples of assets. if a place is being inhabited, it's for a reason. So some places are inhabited because they're next to the sea. Some are inhabited because they have a rich forest that they can use. So, or it might have some natural resources. So it is important to identify why have people gathered here? Why did they make a community here? What did the land had to offer? What is nice about this place? And why did we make a village here, for example? There must be something. So it is good to identify what are the place-based assets so that they can be employed in the growth of the community again. And last but not least, it's the connection. So how are all these elements of the community connected together? These are the relationships and the networks that have already been built, and how these can work together in order to achieve their goals. So if you make one of these goals, the rebuilding and the recovering, these relationships and connections can also work to our benefit. And now we're going to see the example of Aceh or Aceh. I'm not sure how to pronounce this place, which was in Indonesia and still is. So far, are there any questions before we move to the next, to the example?
I think, Mihaly, you explained it so well that people are left without questions.
Yes, this always happens.
That's my explanation.
This always happens, Alex. When I am doing some presentation, it's so clear that nobody has any questions. Okay, let's move on then. And I promise this is the last thing in this presentation, so you will not have to listen to my voice much longer, because I know it's very nice, but everything needs, you know, a little bit of, you know, some things you just need to enjoy them for a little bit, like chocolate. So let's see this case in Indonesia. So this Aceh province was struck by a combination of earthquake and tsunami in 2004, and it was a devastating disaster. So the infrastructure in the coast was destroyed completely, and 160,000 people died. So you can imagine what a devastating disaster this is. Try to think of this as an analogy in your home country. Imagine if something happened like this. For example, this amount of people is it's so huge. Some states have this many people. Some very small states. So imagine the destruction. So it's not only this, but the next year, 300,000 decrease, 300,000 visitors to Indonesia. So it's not only the thing that happens right then, but also the consequences for afterwards. So Aceh has recovered from the natural disaster because there was a huge disaster relief effort and assistance from NGOs, military and private companies. So it needed the help not only of the state itself, but also from outside states in order to recover. Tourism was never a traditional industry, but later it became a little bit important for touristic development because they made a very important step. What they did here is that they created tsunami tourism. So what is this? The place was devastated by a tsunami. So they used this destruction, they used this devastating disaster in order to create post-disaster dark tourism. And you will understand what this is in the next slide. So because of the disaster, here you can also see before the picture. Can you see how big of a destruction this is? This is devastating. First, you have like a coast here, which has both, some natural elements like the green here, roads, houses, businesses. This can be anything, and then in the after there is nothing. It's just land there. So this is a huge disaster. And what they did there was to make many tsunami-related sites. So they used this in order to attract people to see what the effects of tsunami are, to see some monuments, the Tsunami Museum, the Tsunami Educational Park, and the tsunami inundation monuments, and the Aceh Thanks the World Memorial Park. So these sites became touristic attractions, and they stimulated the development of this area. And they even called it tsunami tourism. I know this is a very dark thing to discuss, but this is one of the things that we did there.
It's, I think the dark tourism in general as a concept can be demonstrated in many ways. So, for example, dark tourism can also take place in not only natural disasters, but disasters caused by war. For example, in Vietnam, they have a specific target group of visitors that are veterans of the Vietnam War, or the families descending from someone who was in the Vietnamese War, and they are talking, and also they are having a peaceful approach. So you can, reverse what has happened there and give a positive results. I suppose even in the Tsunami Museum, maybe you can be more aware of what tsunami is, how it works, how you can prevent it. So yeah, but also it can be dark in a bad way, let's say.
Yes, because it's a big distraction and so many people lost their lives. So it's a little bit weird to think of it as an opportunity, but you have to do something. You cannot just give up and stop. And yeah, also another example could be like the Chernobyl place. They don't have anything. There wasn't a touristic attraction there, but people go there all the time. And last year also with the TV show, I think much more people went there. So you can see why this can be adapted. So the story here is that Aceh developed from a disaster site to a popular destination with many attractions, and they also use the beach and culture. It's not only the dark tourism, but they also use the local assets that they have, because this is a place next to the sea, of course. So it's like any tourist would like to go there anyways. Yeah, so this is an example of development even after such a devastating disaster. So this was all that I wanted to share with you today. In the PowerPoint, you can also find some terminology about what we discussed. It's in the e-learning class. But for today, I think this is enough. So thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, you can always ask.
Thanks a lot, Michalis.
Thank you, Michael.
And we know your email as well. We will send you some clarifications if we need.
Yes, I can also give you my phone number if there is something urgent. You can ask. You can call anytime.
Urgent, maybe this is for the Valentine, but it's not. It's something between us. So we can focus now on the next part of the presentation. So I'm sure you absorbed all the information that Michalis so gratefully gave to us. You were like a tree of knowledge, and we took the fruits of your knowledge, and now we are about to put them into action. That's great. And
it's Valentine's Day.
And I'm inspired. So what are we going to do now is we are going to play a little game in some groups. But in order to play, we need to do some magic. The first magic movement is turn on our cameras. It's like you do something, you just press a button and suddenly a new world arises. So that's a very nice trick that we can do. And the second one is that I will share a presentation with the rules, because game is good, but also following the rules is even better, playing with some context.
Yes.
Okay, and then we will move into two rooms. But first, let's see the nice rules of the game. Role playing. Let's go. So, in case you don't understand something, please stop me, and maybe I will not listen to you, but please stop me. So, group activity. We have a role playing. We are for a few seconds more our names. Later we will become something else. We can become mayor, local businesses representatives, community representatives, some representatives of the official government. You can even be prime minister if you want, if you are too ambitious. Farmers, tourist agents, and a public speaker, because someone has to vocalize their thoughts. So we will split in two rooms. Every room will be a round table between these people. So everybody will get into a role, and they will have to start discussing a plan about how a post-disaster plan on a community based on the ABCD model. And if you are too inspired, you can put ABCDE and select a word for E and add it to the model. So what are the rules? What are the goals? You have to protect the interest of your identity, protect your own. So you're speaking, representing these groups. But in the end, you also want a realistic agreement for a post-disaster development plan. Something that everybody will agree. So we start maybe with a position, but then in the end, we need to find an agreement, because everybody has their priorities. But in order for a plan to work, we have to involve everybody, and everybody should be happy with this. And in the end, one representative from each group will inform the other group about what happened. We have two groups. We will be basing our model into the whole local assets, and we will be talking on this. Mihaly, I know you're happy to take over trade and commerce. I know you're really passionate about trade and commerce. So
it's my favorite topic in the world.
See, this is your time to shine. And I will be coordinating the tourism group. So each group will have a different focus. As I told, you can choose identity inside each group. And once you choose this identity, you will have to rename yourself, and you become another. You're entering a role. And I repeat that with one magic action, we can do something very crazy. We can turn on our camera, and this is how the facilitators will know that you are actually in this round table. And then we can start debating. So now let's move to the groups. Antonio, you can.
Okay, Alex, you have to go in the group number 1, in the section number 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
let's start. See you.
See you.
Alex, 20 minutes, 25.
I think we can have 20 minutes because
20.
of the 20 minutes.
Okay. Perfect. Great. Let's start. See you.
See you.
Do you hear me?
Of course, Leslie. Clear and loud.
Okay. Perfect.
With my friends Jesus and Jobless, I know them from the previous groups. Leslie, if you can turn on the camera, I don't know. I know that you're working, so if you cannot, just let me know. But if yes, it would be amazing.
At this moment, I'm a little bit busy, but I think in 10 minutes I can turn it on.
Okay. Hello, Annalisa. Hello, Ero.
Hello.
Ero de Guzman.
Hello.
And hello, Gerardo. And Lorena, of course. How could I leave you for the end? Lorena Antonio is coming in this group, you know.
Yes, I
Okay.
think.
Okay, so let's wait for Antonio.
Or maybe not.
Okay, so then.
Okay.
Hello, Antonio. We waited for you because we cannot have fun without you.
No, maybe I'm just understanding why one person is not entering in the session number 2. Just one moment. Okay, please, no, that's
okay.
Work.
So thanks a lot for having your video on. That's great. And then I would like you to split into these roles. So how do you feel today? Do you feel like you are in a government, you are a farmer, you are in a community, you are in a union? Please, you can remain yourself, and we can put ourselves into a role. So I can start. I can be the whole revolutionary movement. And now maybe, I don't know, jobless. How do you feel? Do you want to be a mayor? Maybe you want to be a prime minister, a minister. How do you feel today? Or do you want some less glorious work?
No, I feel I want to become a farmer.
Okay, that's good. Choose a name and say farmer. So tell a name that a farmer could have.
Juana.
Juana the farmer. Okay, great. Now you're Juana the farmer. Lorena, Antonio, Jesus.
I feel like a representative of the community.
Representative of the community. Okay.
Yeah.
And your name?
My name is Maria.
Maria. Okay. Ero? How do you feel today?
A bit tired because we went from Bohol.
Okay.
Yes.
And we gathered some information. And from our visit in Bohol, I want to play like a mayor.
So you're the mayor of Bohol?
Yeah.
Great.
And what is your name, Mr. Mayor?
I want to portray a name Mayor Yap because he is the existing mayor of the Bohol.
Okay, I put mayor of Bohol, and you can add the name because I didn't get that. Jesus.
I want to be a local person with a little business, maybe. I don't know if there was a role like that.
What is your business?
Maybe some handicraft sector.
Handicraft sector. And your name?
My name could be John.
John. Okay.
John.
Annalisa, are you ready to wear your role?
Hello.
Gerardo.
Where?
Hi.
Hello. I think Gerardo could be the Prime Minister.
Yes, of course.
Presidente.
I want to be a police woman.
Okay.
Police.
Yeah.
And what is your name?
Cassandra.
Cassandra. Oh, you're a tough police.
I feel the tourist agent.
Tourist agent.
Ulysses.
Okay, you're a tourist agent, and also you're like a spokesperson for the community, I feel.
No, the tourist. No, I think that it's better that the spokespeople must be.
I
must
agree.
be the mayor.
The mayor, eh? Okay. Okay. And Annalisa?
I don't know. The name of the mayor.
We have one mayor.
Yeah, but you can be a minister if you want.
A minister? Okay.
Minister of Tourism.
Okay.
And your name?
Ulysses.
My name is
Maldini.
Turistella.
Turistella?
Turistella.
Okay. Okay, guys. So, there is some kind of voice from somewhere.
Okay.
Great. But Mr. Tourist Agent Ulysses, in case of need, because you are full of trips, if you may want to share the results later, we can see how it goes. You can save once again the history. Okay, so please, whoever wants to participate, unmute your microphones, and we are trying to start a plan after the disaster based on the ABCD model. I'm sure that maybe the mayor of Bohol, maybe because we are we are in the municipality, so maybe you want to give a welcome speech and we can start our discussion.
So, good evening from the Bohol. We are gathered here to have our post disaster assessment, and we are very welcome all the participants from the community, from the government, and also the tourists from for our discussion on how can we help Bohol in this time of disaster. We should consider all the parameters in ABCD framework, which is being discussed earlier, which is all about the asset-based community development. And as a mayor of this community, we will have our post disaster assessment plan so that everyone can be resilient enough in order to bring back the tourism in our community. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mayor. I think that Juana, the farmer, raised her hand because she wants to. She has some interesting ideas about how we can revive tourism after this disaster.
Okay, good evening. So, as part of the farmer organization, so right now we are trying to move on from the disaster, but unfortunately, one of the problem that we are encountered right now is that we are lack of fund, particularly where to find some seedlings to be distributed for the farmers to start again, because the all our agricultural from fruit bearing to rice crops um, are not in good condition already. So we are already into a back to zero. So we are looking for a help from the government sector to give us some capital to start again and plant more some fruit bearing and as well as some crops to start again for our living.
So it's a good it's a good
the effect
coincidence
of the disaster,
because we have here the Minister of Tourism that I'm sure she can say from the government what solutions can be given. Mrs. Turistella.
Hello, Jay. Ano daw sa gate mo?
What? Oh, okay. Yes, an idea to for don't know.
There is some internet connection problem. I think that Maria, representing the community, what do you say? What are the needs?
Okay, so I'm the representative of community, but I say you that the community is very affected emotionally after the disaster, and they want to do many things, but they don't know how to start to the action. They are very confused. There are chaos, and the people are very shocked about this problem. And I don't know. We need to create a strategy to give them the possibility to believe in the recovery of the community.
And what about the handicraft sector, John? I know that there is a problem there in your sector as well.
Yes, after the disaster, I have lost part of my workshop space and a few tools, and I live a little far away from downtown, so I don't have too much work. I don't have people where I can offer my products, my necklace, and my other stuff to sell. So I need help for the reconstruction and to attract people that want to buy me my products.
I'm sorry, but the Minister of Tourism had some problems with the local population, so the policewoman, Cassandra, had to help her avoid some demonstration. I don't know, Cassandra, what happened there?
A lot of my people, a lot of the people in the city, they got crazy because their houses were destroyed, their stores, their everything, also their cars. So I have to build a plan with other police people from other islands. So we got together and we recover like medicines, food, clothes, everything we have to make them feel better. But the problem is that this is just a momentaneous help. We need a plan so we can look forward, to the future, and that's what we are developing at this moment.
So I'm going to respond as my role. Cassandra, you are a part of the problem. You're part of the system. You're trying to defend the government instead of giving solutions to the people. You're protecting the rich people's rights. And I think that if you don't change your attitude, I am afraid for your safety.
It's because the rich people is the one that gives me money to eat. I also need food and drink, everything. This is so difficult also for me.
What about us? I think, Ulises, maybe you have a plan for us to escape this.
Yes, of course I have a plan. No, for real. The crisis affected me and my sector a lot, and especially because before the typhoon, our source of economy was the tourism, especially for the resort, etc., etc. But now we are understanding that we have to change our model and our touristic offers, because as I am understanding that all the levels of the citizenship and the population have been affected, and so our proposal is that starting from this moment, the strategy must be designed involving the community in the management. We hope that we can find a proposal about the touristic offer, but we need at one side, we need an investment from the government, which have to work in restoring the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And afterwards, we are all engaged. All tourist actors are all engaged to mix the resort owners and the communities in one touristic offers based on the participation of actors of the visitors in our place, in our community. But this is not easy. But we need that all the parts that are all in this discussion can work all together, because we cannot do this.
Thank you, Ulises. Thank you. We have more like 1 minute. I don't know if anybody else wants to comment something, maybe a president, or I don't know, because we
yes,
see
I think that at political level we need that
I think
especially
we should organize ourselves, because we see the absence of the local government. Juana, Maria, John, everybody, we were gathered here, but the government is missing. There's only Cassandra and her group that are staring at us with anger. But we need to organize ourselves to solve the problem. What do you think?
So,
yeah.
Okay,
Juana,
guys.
You want to try to explain our discussion and to propose something, just from the moment that you come from the place, Philippines.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, Juan.
a small summary and then propose whatever you want. The power is in the people.
Oh, you're planning a revolution here. What are you doing? Are you planning to overthrow the mayor? I hope not.
Worst things. We are planning worst things.
Worst. Revolutionary road.
Okay, guys. I think those who are remaining, we can continue. Some people might scared from the role playing, but we are ready to see what happened. So I would ask Juana the farmer to explain what happened in our group.
Okay, so from the group 1, so we have a talk. So regarding we try to create a plan in how to survive again and recover from the disaster. So from the sector or the farmer sector, so we are looking for help from the private and government sector in order for us to recover and of course to rebuild again our livelihood. Okay, so we plan to ask some capital, a small capital for every farmer, so that every one of us can rebuild our living. Then afterwards, if ever we sustain our product, so we will touch or we will ask for the help of the tourism sector to help us in terms of marketing our product for a small starting from a small scale business and to let's say to transfer, not transfer, but to sell it to the other local provinces and be known again to help our to help a little bit for our living. Then from the small scale business, so we are starting to recover our tourism sector. So if we are already capable to accept and capable to receive and invite some tourists, so the mayor and the other higher government officials can create a program or organize a program in terms of national, invite them to watch the recovery of the people from scratch. So that's it. So that is what happened from our talk from the group 1.
Thanks a lot, Juana. It seemed like it was a very productive and fruitful discussion. I want to add just that our representatives, the elected representatives, were missing, and the only person who was there was Cassandra, the policewoman, who was protecting them from the people. This is what happened, and we can move on to group 2, and whoever wants to share what happened there.
Thank you very much, Alex. I like that you took more personal element to your roles. We decided to stay a little bit more, proper and formal, but okay, to each their own, I guess. So we have a very nice representative for our group, who is Carlos. He's our public speaker, and maybe he can give everybody from the other group an idea of what we discussed for our plan.
Thank you, Michaela. I think we discussed was give money to local business as well as training to the farmers and local business. Farmers, we identify the use of chocolate as an asset, and we and the mayor and government should identify priority activities like cleaning the community, as well the community participation. And that's all.
Yes, and I have to say that it was very nice that everybody wanted to offer something. You know, it is very everybody was very open, especially our government official. Maria, she wanted to give money. The mayor also had like €1 million to give, and it was very nice of the local business representative that they offered their spaces. So if other businesses were destroyed, they could use the spaces of the local businesses which were not destroyed. It was a very nice, let's say, participation. So this one is one of the most important things.
It was
everybody offered ideas, and people came together, you know, in order to move forward.
So
yes,
it was
Alex, sorry.
In line with the today's celebration of San Valentine. Everybody came together, love stories. We tried to represent a more real life scenario, but it's okay. It's good. Mayor Michalis, I'm going to be waiting for you outside the office to settle our businesses. But before that,
the revolution came to my office.
But before that, I don't know if there is any other comment on this. Normally, as trainers, we use this role playing to try to see as many possible approaches as we can, because it's one thing talking about trying to fix a plan, and another thing to see the different approaches and how in reality something can happen. So I don't know if there is any question about this approach. Otherwise, tourist agent Ulysses can take a photo of us to add it in his tourist agency.
Before the photo, I think that it's very interesting, this kind of action, because so everybody can understand how it can be complicated and difficult to create and design and create a strategy involving all the actors of the community, because there is a lot of difference between the different approach and interests. So, and to find a solution able to mix and finding all the points of view, all the several different interests, it's very, very complicated. So understand which kind of work, for example, in this moment, the public authorities and private companies and community has to do in this moment, for example, in Bohol, because we are discussing, but they are working for real. So I think this is crazy. So thank you so much, guys. If you have any question.
No,
okay,
just
so,
one thing for Mayor of Bohol, Hiro, and
yes. Okay.
Gerardo. Do you have any minutes to talk about the next webinars after the meeting? Please.
Just one thing to our friends from BTG. Yes, if you can stay with us other few minutes after the end of the webinar, so we can discuss about the next. But no, just 1 minute. Hiro and Eliza, but in this moment I don't know if they are connected. They were in Bohol 2 days ago.
That's me, Jennifer.
Okay. Okay, Jen, I'm sorry. Okay, perfect. If you can say something about the community, about the current situation.
Am I going to talk about it today or next meeting?
No, just few information about yes.
All right. Yeah, as of this moment, they're already on the process of recovering. They are already in having their jobs. They're getting what is this? They have already planned. The government already has planned with and activities, and I will show you some picture maybe next meeting.
Okay.
To give you the summary of the documentations. We already have talked about the the next plan with the NGOs and LGUs.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Raza, if you can stay with us just 1 minute after the end of the webinar. Okay, great. So, guys, as always, a great smile before leaving at my 3. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you so much. Great. So, guys,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you next week.
See you.
Guys.
My compliments, Antonio.
Thank you.
My compliments, Antonio.
Bye. Ciao.
Thank you, Carlo.
Ciao.
Jerry, wait minute.
Okay, tell me.